What?
Ladies and gentlemen, B Team Mafia, welcome back to the B Team by Jackrabbit Illustrated. Despite our quick little slip up, hopefully you haven't seen the lovely surprise that's cooked up for you for this episode. Don't worry, it'll be here shortly. We are, however, brought to you by Kubota Dealers of South Dakota, located all throughout South Dakota. If you're looking for, you have an acreage, you plow snow with a lawn tractor, anything like that, look into the BX series. I have multiple friends with them. I've been nothing but blown away with how nice they are. Give them a look for any of your needs for around your acreage, your house, your yard. Look at Kubota of South Dakota. We are also on FCS Fans Nation YouTube. We are on our Jackrabbit Illustrated YouTube. We are on our Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook page. Thank you all for joining us today. Give us a like, give us a share. We sure appreciate it. We are excited for another season of the B Team. B Team Mafia repping it in the house. Yeah, heck yeah. I like it, Jim. I'm going to be PG for at least 3 seconds here. But I got my milk. Don't worry. It's white milk because it's preseason. Chocolate milk comes in the regular season. But without further ado, right, winners, we gotta share the thing. So if you didn't share the thing, so it was
Brendan, you got a little, I don't
have headphones on yet.
You got a little Brendan got a little present.
Roll the tape.
Roll the tape. Okay.
Roll the tape. Ben made a little deal here.
We're at Brendan's house, about to reveal his surprise. Pretty sure he forgot about it. Let's see what he thinks about it when he sees it.
Can we play that? All right.
About to reveal his
Come
surprise.
back on there, bud.
There it is. I said 3 seconds.
Put him on the big screen.
Yeah, you can take this down. We don't have to hear Ben's mocking voice anymore.
It's funny though. It is funny.
Here they are. Awesome.
Put him on the big screen.
Yeah, no, I'm on the big screen already. This is big enough. This is gonna be. You're gonna have your chances, huh?
Not you, Chad. There he is.
I'm working on it.
Take the comment down.
Right,
Take the comment down.
This is that Ben's way.
There it is.
Ben
there it is.
The worst way.
Yeah, this is screenshotable.
Take a picture of that. Yeah, so this is what we call punishment.
No, this is not computer generated for those watching at home.
This is called sacrifice for the good of everyone.
And for those just listening, please describe what we're seeing, Ben.
I hope you I hope everybody appreciates the sacrifice I made last year of making sure to not go against the bad juju and just taking this one on the chin for all of us. So I honestly, this is like my medal of honor.
Fake. It looks computer generated. I'm not going to lie.
Turn on the light. Yeah. So I'm not going to do this all in the dark, but I hope that's your eyes, Ben.
Are you going to leave the flashy on
you know what?
I heard they got an extra battery.
Yeah, I was debating I could kill the battery before the show. No, you can't. They came with a spare battery. What is this? Like who? I know they're not expensive.
Sorry, Kevin. I'll go follow you right now.
Yeah, geez, get your life together, Ben.
I'm sorry.
From Cleanse. Yeah, you're very funny, Chad. Very funny. Princess Unicorn. My horn can pierce.
You have to say it. You have to say it like from The Office.
I haven't watched The Office.
Oh,
what?
My
Never.
horn can pierce the sky.
No, the only thing that's been going through my head is My Little Pony, to be honest with you. Having
My Little Pony and me.
My Little Pony. So, anyways, that's enough of that. I am destined. Is this an all-season thing? I forget if this was an all-season thing or.
I don't think it should be.
I know you were trying to back it down to like a couple episodes was the thing.
I think we said 2. I think we said the first one and then one other. I don't know what the other one was. Maybe one other of choosing or something. But
I feel since they're not comfortable, maybe we should be doing the gentlemanly thing and not make Brendan wear them all the time.
Just they're so small, dude. They're so small. Look. Look at this. Look at how big they are compared. This is shoved against my face. Like they are. I'm gonna have a headache after this for sure. Rainbow Dash. Thanks, Shauna. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, this is not gonna go, and this is on the internet now forever. Awesome.
I've got Garage Time. You've got Rainbow Unicorn Kitty.
Yeah. Meow.
All right.
Meow. What seems to be a problem here?
You can wear it all the time. Thanks, Ariel.
The wife,
I like
coming
it.
off the
honey,
top rope.
I don't. Fine. But that does bring us to some programming changes we're going to have this year. We're going to be going on Monday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Time to be decided, probably around the similar time that we usually do, 8:30. We'll hash that out later. It's not going to be at oh my god.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Oh my god. So anyways, but we'll be on Monday nights instead of Wednesday, Thursdays like we have been, just for scheduling for all three of us. So look for us there. Now with that, we are going to not have our picks segment as you're used to it, because the lines won't be out in time. So we are going to have a release every week. So we're still going to have the competition that Ben's going to lose this time because this is war after this. Yeah, this is unfortunate. Rev, I already asked you about Mondays. Get out of here. He says, no, I can't go live on Mondays. Get off my turf. No, you can't. No, boo boo. But I did ask, to be fair. So we will be releasing our picks against the spread. So what we are going to do is during our normal weekly podcast, we're going to chop it up about the games we're going to pick. And then we will post our picks on our Facebook and Twitter and the JI Twitter and everything, so people can still follow along and hopefully make some money, maybe following us. Because I actually feel comfortable saying that, because being forced to pick every Valley game, we've still were around 500, which is pretty good betting against the spread anyways. Never mind that we're betting games that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole half the time.
But aren't people supposed to fade Brendan to get rich?
Fade Brendan or wear unicorn headphones.
Either
Unicorn
way.
Kitty.
Yeah,
Unicorn
so
Kitty, whatever.
we'll still discuss the matchups. We just won't have the spreads to pick during the podcast. But yeah, like Brendan said, we'll tweet those out so you can keep track of our picks and follow along if you want to. See how you do against us if you'd like.
Yeah. So
Chad likes the hat.
Yep. No.
Jim's got it. Hashtag Fan Brendan get rich. I like it.
All of you guys you're just gonna rue the day. You're all gonna rue the day this year. I'm gonna be buried in stat sheets and everything. Ink stained hands, the whole world. What's up, Brandon? Good to see you, buddy.
The worst thing about having Brandon on is then my Brendan gets kind of
wonky. That's okay. I've been Brandon
sorry, Brandon.
Life, so it's all right. But yeah, besides that, how has your guys' summers been? It's our first time back together. Chad's almost got his shed up besides the concrete work. I haven't seen any concrete work or gotten any texts about doing it. So
I did 31 bags batch concrete in the back last Thursday.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun. At least it wasn't 1,000,000 degrees.
That's true.
Ben and I almost died in a softball tournament this weekend.
Yeah, tell me, how'd that go, old man? Did you make it all the way through the end, or did you sputter a little before?
You could tell we were the team with the most old guys by the end of that.
Yeah, we did all right. But after playing for about 6 hours straight, 4 games straight, we were done.
Yeah. I don't know if we'd have made it out for a game if we had one after that. That was
no.
That was tough.
How many beers?
Somebody picked that? Black. Very low.
It was a record low number of beers drank for a softball tournament, for sure.
But if you drink Busch Light, you're hydrating, right?
Normally I go, haha, yes, but not that day. Nope.
Better to not risk it. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you got there? Is that an Italian cup?
It's Mexican.
Mexican.
Yeah, my buddy gave it to me. He got it for free. So
Oh, nice.
I had to see what it was myself. That's why I put it on screen.
My eyes are my screen from now on.
What are we here to talk about?
In case anybody's wondering, Ben again wasn't here for our pre-production meeting. Not that we actually have a meeting per se. We do bring up things we're going to talk about. And Chad and I decided as a team that what we're going to talk about is in Ben's hands. Mind you, Ben this week when we were like, hey, let's have a podcast, he was like, all right, what are we going to have a podcast about? So Ben's going to lead us all on this merry way, I think is how that's going to go.
Hey, what you don't know is I actually sent Chad a bunch of links that I wanted to discuss.
Oh, really?
So I did do some prep work, even though I know you love the agenda that I usually send out, but I didn't do that this time.
I know.
That's cool considering I don't get email notifications, so I didn't know about it.
Well, just go ahead and pull your browser up and we'll watch it.
Let's see
Googling with Chad again.
No, so what we wanted to come on here to talk about was kind of the MVFC as a whole. We talked about our first podcast being Monday next week, but that's game week. We're going to be talking about the upcoming game. We're going to be talking about all the other games in the Missouri Valley.
How much time are we actually going to spend on that, though?
Well,
how
it'll
many
probably
times
be more
we said
about
that before a podcast, and then all of a sudden it was an hour and 20-minute long podcast.
Yeah,
so
we usually find
a way
by
doing it a week ahead of time.
Fair enough.
Dustin, we'll save your trip saga for the week that you're coming.
Yeah.
But we will that'll be a big podcast talking about the Montana State game plus the Revs trip up here. So
and he says that like he's not going to have us as guides those nights,
right?
But we'll say we'll bring that stuff up because we got a lot of Montana State fans who swear up and down they're selling out our stadium.
Mm-hmm.
But, sure.
We'll
I'm looking forward to see
video proof of that.
How many of them are there?
Listen, Chad,
hey.
Cleanse, you just calm down there, buddy. But on the brighter note, Chad's trip having to be canceled for Hobo Day means that I was able to hook up Joe and Sean with a hotel for Hobo Day because those guys are coming up. So we got a lot of like celebrities. Kevin Marshall's coming from FCS Nation Radio. He's going to be at the Montana State game. Sam Herder, I believe, is going to be there as well. So yeah, we got all sorts of everybody's coming. Win one national title and everybody shows up.
Ron Lowney won't be there though.
Sad for Ron. Really? Will he really not be there?
I think he's not making it. I thought.
The hell, I don't know. He just said restaurants are more important than bars. I assumed he had to be there.
I thought he said, I can't remember. I thought he said he was coming, but he can let us know. Back to the content. What we were going to talk about is, and the rest of Zach from Blue Buds is coming too. Jeez, everybody's coming. And
Stone Labanowitz. Is Stone going to have nightmares, bad memories walking back into that stadium? Or
probably.
Poor guy.
He'll automatically fall over walking through the gates and have a concussion.
He's going to, you know what's going to happen is he'll be on the field. He's going to meet us before the game, right? And he's going to meet me and Chad and the gang before the game. And then he's going to be on the field with his media pass, and he's going to walk by us, and he's going to go, son of a bitch, you guys.
He'll realize who we actually are, won't he, Brendan? And then we'll all of a sudden just start chanting, he didn't wash his hands. He didn't wash his hands. Then he'll know. Then he'll remember.
All right. What we wanted to talk about was the Missouri Valley as a whole, kind of some of the preseason rankings, some of the I want to bring up the Buck Buchanan watch list, the Walter Payton watch list, stuff like that, we may not talk about once we get into the season, but we'd like to go over now. So what Chad just pulled up for us is the Missouri Valley preseason poll. And we're going to go over a couple polls, and you'll notice one commonality is that SDSU is the unanimous number one across all of them. And rightfully so. I mean, with the way we performed last year, with what we got coming back, it's kind of a no-brainer. Was that not in the pre-planning meeting, shutting off?
I think his headphones make noises.
It's
too.
these stupid headphones. That's what it is. It's definitely not me trying to silent my watch and then accidentally doing the search for my phone bit instead.
Oh, preseason form, fella.
Whoopsie poopsie. We're looking at the preseason poll. What's wrong with having a little preseason whoopsie poopsie?
There you go. So, anyway, we're number one on all the polls. The one ridiculous poll. Which poll was it that we had all the first place votes except for one? Somebody must have been.
Well, no, I could see that being Jimmy not wanting to vote for his own team.
Oh, you think that was
that's a plausible thing. Whenever I see like
that was the coaches
conference
it
poll
was the
like
coaches
that.
poll.
I think that was a coaches poll. If you ever see if I see like a coaches poll and then the number one team has one that's not for them, I tend to think it's the coach of that team not wanting to, I don't know, humility, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So for those of you that cannot see the poll that's pulled up here, it's the Missouri Valley preseason poll, SDSU number one, and then you've got NDSU, UNI, UND, SIU, Youngstown State, Illinois State, Missouri State, USD, Indiana State, Murray State, and Western Illinois. Those bottom three, Indiana State, Murray State, and Western Illinois, are just, I think, will be a dumpster fire all year, especially the bottom two, Murray State and Western Illinois. I'd like to see Indiana State show pulse, but they haven't for a while now. Just above them, you've got USD, who's going through some interesting changes at the university. Did they fire their athletic director, or did he just leave?
He took a different job.
But
you know, kind of what like when you listen to Zim and Gaskin's podcast on Nobody's Listening Anyways, listen to them talk. Sounds like this might have been kind of in the works, and it was kind of just a thing. I mean, we could talk about this for a while. Like, that could be. We could start all sorts of crazy rumors about it if we wanted to. The timing's weird though.
It is odd,
It
right?
sure is.
Right before the football season starts. Kevin asks, which poll does numbers each week? Numbers each week. I don't know what he's talking about.
Like
he's talking about which poll gets the most likes and retweets and stuff like that.
Yes. Interactions.
Yeah.
Clicks.
Which one is it?
He's trying to pimp his own poll here for FCS Nation poll.
He's coming to the B team
doing.
so he can get
That's
some
what he's
listeners. I'm just
Well,
come on. In South Dakota. South Dakota.
No free publicity here, sir. Would you like to sponsor the podcast?
Brought to you by FCS Nation Radio 1.
Kevin and Stone are good guys.
Yeah,
he's great.
They were a lot
We're
of
just
fun
messing with him.
Tailgate.
Back to the Rev says Kevin has the best poll based out of Montana.
He knows that from experience.
Anyway, back to what we're talking about here, Missouri Valley Football Conference. After USD, you got that group of kind of Missouri State, Illinois State, Youngstown State, Southern Illinois, who we kind of don't know who they're going to be this year. Petrino's gone from Missouri State, so that'll look different. I don't know who they hired, if it was anybody notable or
his son-in-law.
Hired his son-in-law,
Coach Beard. He was their offensive coordinator, and then stepped in as the HC there. So,
yeah, just hand me some Vyvanse cleanse.
But yeah, I don't know. When I look at this, now that we're at 12 teams, right? Are you going to vote? Is this voting on who they thought was the best team? Probably, because this is going to get shuffled just by virtue of the schedule. Because this dovetails into my conspiracy theory perfectly.
Here we go.
I think just with this schedule, if you look at the scheduling, right? SDSU does not get to play Murray State, does not get to play Western Illinois, does not get to play Indiana State. USD gets to play all three of them. Oh, Missouri State, I believe, gets to play all three of them. NDSU only gets to play one of them. And I don't think it's necessarily out to get SDSU or NDSU. I think it is to try to get as many teams with 7 to 8 wins as possible to pump up the playoff numbers after a three team season. And although I think a little bit's against SDSU, but because then you don't just not give us those teams, you also give us another year of back-to-back rivalry games and no bye week during the conference season that everybody else seems to have. But I digress.
I mean, we do specifically play NDSU and USD every year on purpose. So and
right,
UND,
right,
and UNI.
The Dakota schools always play the Dakota schools, and then UNI always has to play those teams as well. Draws the short straw on that because the rest of the Eastern teams screaming about travel when the North Dakota and South Dakota came in to drag the league down. But in all seriousness, because if you look at USD's schedule, it sets up very favorably for them to make the playoffs. It really does. If the committee looks favorably on the MVFC, which should be quite a bit better this year, just by virtue of the veteran quarterbacks. I think the MVFC is going to be really, really good. So if you get the 7 wins there, and they don't dig deeper about who it's against, that's an easier way into the playoffs than having to, go to Youngstown and knock them off or things like that. So I could definitely see them making the playoffs. Plus they're going to have a actual offensive coordinator who's not going to get fired midseason for scandalous things and issues. So that makes a difference. Like Nielsen just taking over and not having an OC mid-season, that's a big deal.
I mean, I don't want to go too deep into the USD woods here, but that would mean, they're going to lose to Missouri, NDSU, STSU, and probably UND.
Yep.
So
UND is in the Dakota Dome, and much like UND being a different team out of the Lara Center, USD is a different team in the Dakota Dome. Just look at it. We've lost there the last 2 times. I don't think UND is better than us playing there.
Right. So then they're looking at, they'll have to beat Youngstown State and probably have to beat Southern Illinois, or at least win 2 of the 3, Youngstown State, Southern Illinois, and UND. If they do that, they might get to 7 wins. But they'll have to win 2 out of those 3.
They're going to beat St. Thomas, Lamar, Murray State, Indiana State. That's 5 right there.
You only named 4. So.
Western Illinois. So they need to beat 1 of North Dakota, Southern Illinois.
Wait, you only named 4. St. Thomas, Lamar,
Murray State, Indiana State, Western Illinois. That's 5.
Okay.
And then, I really think they can clip either North Dakota or Youngstown in the Dome.
But my point is they have to win 2 out of the 3 versus those 3 teams.
Those 3 teams?
Well, they're not going to be...
I don't know. We'll see. I think they could win.
What point in the season do they play them?
That's where you can get so in the weeds if you really want.
We're
really want to. Like I used to do that, and I usually do that.
It doesn't matter.
I usually go all right, they play NDSU before they play us. They play UND, and they're going to be wore out, or they had to travel really far, or whatever. That stuff matters, especially in college.
No, I agree. It matters, but anyway, enough USD talk.
Oh, Rev, you're just butthurt that we won. It's fine. It's just saying last time the Hacks were there, you lost in the Dakota Dome. You really want them? Yeah. And there was a year where they weren't here and we lost in the Dakota Dome. So, science.
Let's now that we're done with that poll. Well, before we move on from that poll, can you pull that poll back up?
Who are your playoff teams out of the Valley?
That's what I wanted to talk about. Is what do we think? Kind of the we've got. I think that is a clear top 4. SDSU, NDSU, UNI, and UND seem to be the top 4. You might be able to make a top 5 with Southern Illinois in there being pretty solid. And I think, to me, that's probably going to be your playoff teams from the Valley.
I think they're. Now I want to look at UND schedule. See, this is all stuff we should have done ahead of time, but none of us have.
I mean,
I haven't.
Jobs.
I haven't. Yeah, there's that. Because I want to see what games they have home versus away with UND, because that's a big deal for them.
If you guys would like us to do this full time, like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe and send some checks to the Podfathers.
Lots of checks.
And
they're at UNI, at South Dakota, at
get
SDSU,
like a million other people to also like and subscribe.
At Boise State.
No, we don't make any money on this.
Yeah, they probably make it.
I mean, I might agree
UND?
with the top 3, but I have 2 and 3 swapped in my mind. I think UNI is going to be the surprise this year and be the second best team in the Valley.
Well,
they got a stud quarterback.
Yeah, Theo Day's great. If I look at it,
and their defense is going to be better this year.
NDSU and UNI are the 2 most interesting teams in the Valley to me this year. To see what happens. Even all the way down to NDSU's out of conference games against teams they probably should beat by a lot, but will they? I don't know. I mean, I'd assume they will if they're the same old.
Always the optimist, Chad.
UNI is the team that people nationally need to root for and not against, because that's the squad that, as a program, has the capability to beat NDSU with some regularity because they've done it before. And that's the team that needs to join with SDSU in beating NDSU to get them out of that damn dome in the playoffs.
I'd like them to keep a winning season so they can keep Skeletor around.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fun to see them not have a seed for once.
Skeletor. No, but they're really interesting. That UNI NDSU matchup. That's gonna. I think that'll make a big difference. Black Bunny costume for the Montana State game. I don't know. I could see those 2 flip flopping, but it's gonna. I think my opinion on that'll vary week by week. Because if UNI has their defense back to UNI levels, they're going to be really damn good. Because their offense isn't going to be that much worse this year. If anything, it'll be better, most likely.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with Theo Day at the helm, I mean, he's legit. The Rev said earlier he's got UNI and NDSU swap because UNI actually has a quarterback. That's shots fired at Cam Miller. I mean, the guy gets a lot of heat. To be fair, like normally he's. I mean, against anybody but SDSU, he actually plays pretty decent. SDSU and who was it? The team he was like 1 for 12 against. It doesn't play well against them either. But it will be interesting to see like how long is the leash for Cam Miller this year. I mean, how if he just continues to look like that. I mean, the thing is, with the way their schedule is, they usually don't need him to be really good.
They might need him to be if Eastern Washington has their offense running at all. They might play catch up that game.
I hope Eastern Washington pushes them and we can see what Cam Miller really can do. Same with Central Arkansas. I don't know. We'll see, but it'll be interesting to see if they make a change at some point or if they just kind of roll with him. But
see, I think Cam Miller and Malott from Montana State both suffer from the same issue with how their offenses are run, where they don't get used to pass barely ever. And I think if their offensive coordinators just had them pass with some more regularity, they'd be in better shape when it comes to a time that they have to throw the ball to stay in a game. Whereas you looked at, Tommy Malott and Miller when they're behind, then they're not used to it. They don't know what to do.
Right. Kevin, that's actually pretty cool news. I didn't know that FCS Nation Radio is going to be on KSO ESPN Radio 102.3 FM and then 1000 AM in Sioux Falls.
Is that KXRB? I think 1000. Yeah.
I don't know.
Chad, you would be the guy.
Those letters matter?
Not when I'm looking.
They
for
do
a
to the
radio
FCC,
station.
sir. They do to the FCC.
And that's why we're on podcast, because the FCC won't let me be.
Or let me be me.
No, but if you guys are, they're on in Vermilion and Brookings as well. If anybody's looking for a national TV show to throw on radio show to throw on during their tailgate. I don't know what to think of Youngstown State after losing McLaughlin, who was their offense. He was their offense. And now he's gone, but everybody's pretty high on him. And I'm not sold on them yet. I want to wait and see on what they're going to be, because I've seen a lot of people pick them for playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the teams that I think will be right there, between Youngstown State, Southern Illinois, maybe even in Illinois State. I think maybe less likely Illinois State. I think any of those top 6 can make the playoffs. You can take them off now. Switch.
No,
your
it's fine. I'm going to wear them. I am a man of my word, and it is the bet.
I'll make you wear them.
A little tender. It's fine.
I'll make you wear them in another future episode.
I'm sure I'll have to wear them in a future episode, but I'm a man of my word.
Take them off.
No, I'm going to wear them because I'm going to make you wear what I get you when I win next year for a full episode. I gotta live this life. This is my life now.
Yeah.
Until vengeance is mine.
Oh, we did get a new gear store. Speaking of the hat that he's wearing underneath those headphones, so that's news for those of you that didn't see it in the podcast Ben and I did with Matt the other night. So he did tell us that. So we got some new gear coming up.
Yep, new swag and all that jazz here. God, this feels like a preseason episode, doesn't it?
Do we want to move on to the Buck Buchanan watch list here, Ben?
Go ahead, do the stats poll, so we can look at where the Valley teams are within the rest of the FCS.
Give me a second on that one.
So much to do. Search history on the BBC.
The people want
search history on the BBC. Oh man. No, looking up, I guess towards we're gonna do the poll first. So
maybe I didn't.
I was just gonna start talking about other football stuff. If I was gonna blame anybody, it would be Chad, because we blame Chad for everything, even if it's not his fault. He's really good at taking that.
Yeah, it was probably my fault.
On this comment from Paul, Youngstown seems to be doing good things or doing things right with good recruiting. I'm so torn on saying anybody's doing good in recruiting or bad in recruiting in the FCS. I mean, what are you basing it off of? I guess myself, because those we've never been a top 5 or 10 team in the FCS for recruiting classes, and we've been to the semifinals for 5 years in a row now, or 5 of the last 6 years. So I'm not a big believer in judging a recruiting class in the FCS until it actually plays. See Campbell. They've had 2 insane recruiting classes, or 3 of them, and it's yet to show in the Big South.
Yeah, it's hard to, I mean, they're fun to look at those rankings, but they rarely mean anything. And they rarely come to fruition. I mean, look at our team alone. I mean, we've had, how many guys have we had that have been very the highest recruits we've ever had, and then they never play it down for SDSU. And so, we've kind of talked about that at length in the past, in terms of how you can't really go by those too much. All right. Thank you, Chad. Sorry about
That's
throwing
okay.
a
I don't
curveball there.
mind. It's my fault. I probably should have that ready, but you know.
Boo, Chad.
No,
You
I don't
give
know if
Kevin
this
a
is
heart
good,
attack
though.
by throwing this poll on here and not his.
Sorry, Kevin.
Let's not talk about Kevin's poll, please.
What? It's provocative. It
I'd
gets
rather
the people
talk about
going.
mothers I'd like to hear from than Kevin's poll.
If you guys would like
Are we on board for that?
If you guys would like to hear that
haven't talked to
podcast,
anybody.
for those who missed the podcast the other night, we talked about interviewing some of the moms of the players, and well, we gave you credit.
I
gave
wasn't
you credit on the
listening.
show.
I gave you credit. Yeah.
Yeah, Chad
I
gave you
idea.
credit. He said this was Brendan's idea.
I've gotten
It's
through the defensive one so far.
to get moms on the show, and I suggested we called it the Mothers I'd Like to Hear From podcast. So if you
Group text makes more sense now.
If you
you haven't known what that meant the whole time. Oh my god!
You know how good I am at acting like I know what's going on when I don't? It's incredible.
If you'd like to hear that, hear us talk to the moms of some of the players, then tweet just tweet hashtag MILHF, and we'll try to make that happen. So Chad pulled up the FCS poll here. SDSU at the top with all 56 first place votes, and NDSU right behind. And then you got Montana State, William and Mary, Holy Cross, Furman, Incarnate Word, Idaho, Sanford, Sacramento State round out the top 10. If you could scroll down, Chad.
I'm working on it.
Yep, no worries. Just wanted to highlight any other. UND sitting at 17, and Northern Iowa's down at 23 are the only other Missouri Valley teams in the FCS this preseason poll. Any notable teams on there for you, Brendan?
Davis. I think Davis is going to surprise the hell out of people. I think they're going to be very good. I'm hoping Furman can manage to get through the SoCon and get a top 2 seed. Because I think that'd be fun. Because I'm curious about Montana State outside of the game we have with them, because we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But last year, I mean, there was a distinct difference, just like the UNDs of the world. When they got on the road, they were a different team. And now a lot of their tough games are on the road in the Big Sky Conference. I could see UC Davis sneaking through and sneaking by and winning the conference. So I could see that happening. And if that happens, that would possibly open the door for a Furman or a Sanford if they make it through the SoCon without losing to someone they shouldn't, to snag a top 2 seed, which I think would be really fun. And there's too many damn CAA teams on this list.
There is. I think UC Davis knocks on the door where Weber State is, and potentially has SEMO's really interesting this year again. And you know, what is UIW going to look like with their new quarterback? That's what I want to know.
And there are 37 transfers.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Bit of an exaggeration, but it's also not.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Montana State at 3. I think, you know, people forget that they beat Eastern Washington by 3. They should have lost to Weber State. They beat them by 5, and then they only beat Northern Arizona by 3. And so, I mean, by the end of the season, they were riding pretty high and thinking they were all big and tough until they came to Brookings. But I
just throwing shade. Oh man, you're gonna get the same Bobcat fan tweeting at you all this nasty stuff that I got, like shadowing my post randomly.
Bring it on. So yeah, I mean, their game against us, if they lose to us, then they're not. It probably won't affect them a whole lot. But it will be interesting to see how they do against the rest of the Big Sky, who was pretty strong last year. I think that, you know, this FCS poll is kind of an indication that the people think that the Big Sky as a whole probably won't be as strong as it was last year.
It definitely won't be.
Right. And so it'll be
Brandon,
interesting
21.
to see how the Big Sky shakes out there. and where Montana State falls within it, whether UC Davis rises to the top, if Sacramento State can continue their success or not.
Well, I mean, if you think of the top tier programs in the Big Sky of the last 5-ish years, right? You got Weber State, you got Sac State, you've got Eastern Washington, Montana State, maybe Montana, right? And then Idaho. Idaho's rose.
The Fighting X will be good this year.
Fighting X are a media darling, and I'm curious how they're going to do. So I'm not sold they're going to be great. But then Sac State lost their head coach and coaching staff and best player. Weber lost their head coach and coaching staff. So now you're already down a third of your top programs losing top coaches. Eastern Washington's was really bad this year, might be okay this year. So now you've got Montana State and Idaho left. So I think that the Big Sky is going to be down overall. So that's why, like, looking at UC Davis's schedule, they miss Montana State. They play Montana at home. They play Eastern Washington at home. Their toughest road game in conference is Weber, which how are they going to be with a new coach and they get Sac State at home? I could see them running through that and getting another shared Big Sky Conference title.
Yeah, like you said, Idaho is going to be real interesting. They've got the ranking, and then they've the 2022 record on there. And Idaho kind of sticks out as the team that was 7-5 last year, but is number 8 in the polls this year. And so a lot of people are expecting a pretty big jump there. They'll have to deliver on it and see where it goes. But I mean, I got faith in Eck. I mean, he's a good coach, and they got some good players there. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this year.
See what the Eck is going on out there.
That's right.
They got an Eck of a quarterback too in Giovanni McCoy. And we did not have these puns, we just missed.
And who is it? Hayden Hatton? Is he their receiver? That kid's a stud.
Yeah, that kid's a stud too.
So, yeah, I am a little bit with Dustin that it just makes me leery how much love they get they've gotten in the media compared to results so far. So I'm curious how that's going to go.
They certainly cannonballed and made a splash this last year.
So here's an interesting thing for both of you guys. There's a lot of talk about, the pressure on SDSU being number one. How are we going to play with the target on our backs instead of vice versa? I would argue not nationally necessarily as much, but locally, there's going to be as much pressure on NDSU as there is SDSU to be really good this year, because man, they are not they're not happy up there. And yeah, like Dustin says, we had a target on our backs all last season too. So, there is that. I would argue the NDSU team, if they drop a game that they're not supposed to, the pressure might end up being higher on them than it will be on SDSU from a local standpoint and the question standpoint. There's already tons of questions about all the transfers and what are they going to do? What are they going to look like? They're still NDSU. I'm leery of doing that. I don't know if anybody else has watched horror movies literally ever, but when the big evil monster gets shot and falls to the ground, everybody knows you don't walk up and kick it to see if it's still alive. You've got to flamethrower it about 15 more times, then drop a nuke on it for it to actually be dead. So maybe people need to chill out on saying that NDSU's dynasty is dead. So,
right.
They
still made it to the national championship game last year.
And I see a lot of programs fans out. I mean, I see plenty of our fans trolling him too, which that's fine. But I see a lot of
that's
other
just pent up aggression,
like Youngstown State fans, that the NDSU dynasty's dead. Okay, beat them, literally ever. Just go out and beat them. Then literally anybody besides us beat their asses instead of pointing and go, "Oh, they're dead." Well, all right, go and get them, Tiger. You let me know.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, NDSU is certainly going to want to bounce back this year. They're definitely going to want to beat us. They're going to want to get that monkey off their back. especially after the game they had up there last year, where they, by all rights, should have won that game. At least kind of gave it away based on the way it was heading going into halftime. I don't think it's not so bad as where like Entz is on the hot seat or anything yet, but I think people are getting a little antsy up there, which is kind of crazy to think. Like they still made the freaking championship
national title game,
and but it's just based on how they had been doing. Maybe they're just coming back to earth a little bit here, but it's going to be fun to watch, and I don't know. I'm rooting for chaos. I hope they drop a game against either Eastern Washington against UCA, and we can just watch the chaos ensue.
So
hashtag Team Chaos.
Right. Good talk, Trent. But after that, if you guys don't get that, watch YouTube. I don't care. But with NDSU, it feels like the Eastern Washington and the UCA games. Those are games that we hope on our little rabbit hearts that they're gonna lose, but deep down, they're not gonna lose that game. But the UND game, that's a spicy meatball, because that one is back in Grand Forks. And arguably with what looked to be a better, we'll still yet to come, but with a better team that won a national title, they squeaked out a win there in Grand Forks. So this year, with what looks to be not necessarily as good of a team as that year going to Grand Forks, I'm very curious about if they could trip them up as well.
I think for our picks, I know we're not making them during the pod this year, but as we talk about games, you're going to have a spicy meatball game of the week. just because I enjoy hearing you say it.
It's not even that good. Why do you like that so
I don't know why I enjoy it, but I do.
We need to get sponsored by some meatball company.
Fazoli's.
Hey,
Fazoli's. Here's a sponsorship.
Be the spicy meatball pick of the week by Fazoli's.
Brendan wants free breadsticks, all you can eat, when he shows up.
Nothing says America like drive-through Italian food. God.
All right. What else do we want to talk about? We want to talk about what else you got pulled up there, Chad, on your browser history.
Yeah.
Buck Buchanan.
Let's talk about the Buck Buchanan
championships
award watch list. We have in the Missouri Valley. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Sure can.
Appreciate that.
Very helpful.
In the Missouri Valley, they've got Eli Mostert for NDSU, Adam Bach for SDSU, and Miles Harden for USD listed as finalists. I don't know how many finalists they start out with, but kind of cool to see Adam Bach on there. Obviously, we know he's a beast. Jim Poppin's a fan of the spicy meatball pick too. That's the highlight of the show.
Well, when I look at these, Eli Mostert would have to go insane sack-wise, because when it comes down to it, a lot of this is, it's the stats.
It's stats, yeah.
So he'd have to have insane sack numbers, which maybe with the quarterbacks this year, you'd have a better chance than normal in the MVFC, but I still think that's going to be tough. Adam Bach at the middle linebacker position, I think the number one individual award I would ever want our players to have is the Buck Buchanan. I think that would be the coolest. But I don't think our defense lends itself to Adam winning that award, just because, again, it's stats. So you're going to need the huge tackle stats and all this stuff. Whereas I'm not saying these are bad players by any stretch, but the guys who win it tend to be guys who have big stats and are the defense instead of being the best defensive player.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Our defense is so good that our tackles get spread out so much that it's tough for even a player like Bach to rack up that many tackles. If Bach goes and plays on, I don't know, name a team, Western Illinois, he's going to rack up a lot of tackles and would probably run away with the Buck Buchanan Award on Western Illinois.
Right.
But,
unless we start scoring his tackles like he's Robbie Houck. That'll get a kick out of the Montana State fans right there.
Montana, right?
Well, Montana State fans will not, or Montana fans will not like that comment.
Yeah.
But I don't care because Montana fans don't count as
people.
people.
You're saying Montana State would enjoy it. Got it.
Yeah.
So we can move on from that. What about the Walter Payton Award list?
We got 3 from SDSU alone.
3. Is that good?
Is that good? Feels good.
I hear that's good.
6 from Missouri Valley.
I was gonna say. I was just gonna say, look, they're all Missouri Valley. How about that?
Those are only Missouri Valley players.
I know. I'm just saying, how many of them are? They're studs.
Well,
we've got excellent quarterback play, excellent running back play. I mean, you can be a stud from the Pioneer Football League, sure, and he's probably a stud, but it is different when you're playing in the Valley.
You're gonna get in trouble for being a Missouri Valley homer, Chad.
Well, I'm a little bit of a Missouri Valley homer because I watch the most of the Missouri Valley, I guess.
He balances me out because I like to hate on the Valley just because it's fun and it pisses people off.
So
I like to hate on the Valley because of their lack of social media presence.
You can go and find the whole list, but if you scroll back up there, Chad,
players... it's literally the whole list right there.
Well, is that the whole list?
Yeah, it literally says complete 2023 preseason.
I know, but he didn't scroll all the way to the bottom.
I can make it so tiny.
See, it's pretty big.
But
anyway, the players in the Valley that are on this list are Theo Dave, Northern Iowa, Mark Gronowski, South Dakota State, Tommy Schuster, UND, Isaiah Davis, South Dakota State, Tamarick Williams, NDSU, and Jackson Yankee, South Dakota State. Dustin says none of these guys will win your conference can play defense. Again, it's a stats award. You have to just have insane stats, and that usually lends itself to a team that plays in a conference that isn't as good or doesn't play as much defense as the Missouri Valley does.
Well, and let's be honest, it's a quarterback award, just like the Heisman is, which is stupid, but whatever. Which lends itself to high-flying, high-pass attempt offenses. So, I mean, I think the outside of Trey Lance, we haven't had a winner of that, and you're just not going to get that winner out of the Valley, and particularly off of this SDSU team, you're just not going to. When you have 3 guys on the list, that also means that's 3 guys taking votes away from each other, but also 3 guys taking stats away from each other when one of them is a running back and then one's a receiver, one's a quarterback. So,
right. And like Andrew said, he'd love to see Davis do it. I would too. But like we talked about in our offensive preview, with Lamar Johnson healthy, I think we're going to see a pretty healthy split between those two. And Isaiah just isn't going to rack up that many carries, and which is a good thing for SDSU. I mean, it's not good for him. He's not going to be on this list at the end of the year probably, but it's a good thing keeping Davis healthy and fresh for the playoffs.
Yeah. I think it's going to be similar to it, exactly what you said. I thought I was going to add something to that, but I can't.
Words are hard, bud.
Words and stuff. The Southland, baby.
So you're saying I covered it sufficiently.
You did.
Now you're talking as most profound as I do.
Yes. Here's it is crazy. I hope SDSU fans appreciate this season as much or more than they appreciated last season. Just the talent that's on this team, the talent that came back. I mean, when you look at all conference, the numbers were absurd. To have 3 guys on the Peyton watch list is absurd. It's insane. But also, I think we need to remember as SDSU fans how incredibly difficult an undefeated season is. There's a lot. I mean, even myself, you think about this Montana State game coming up, right? Like, God, we beat the piss out of them here, and they're coming back, baby. Well, does anybody remember a school called Southern Illinois where in the same damn season that same scenario played out, and then we damn near lost in the playoffs with literally the same team? So I'm just saying, be excited for the season, but there should be plenty of teams to not be over cocky about playing.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's easy to be that way now, but
Right.
You know, just like I pointed out, like Montana State last year. I mean, we had, you know, it wasn't a scare against UC Davis, but it wasn't the cleanest game against UC Davis.
Right.
UNI, obviously, like, I mean, that one could have gone either way. And then you look at the Holy Cross game. Now we took care of them in the fourth quarter, but they were pushing us for a while. So, I mean, we're not invincible. I mean, we do have a really, really good team, and we should go enjoy it and attend every game and cheer your asses off. But you can't just take it for granted and assume, well, we're going to roll out here and just win. I mean, it's still college football. Anything can happen.
I'm still my nervous fan self, I guess, is what I was. It's my thing. I'm still going to be nervous all season because, exactly like you said. I mean, God, there was a ton of close games last year. The playoffs made it feel like it was all blowouts, but there was, before this team got clicking, there was a lot.
UC Davis,
who knows?
Was one of them.
Yep.
Ross really
Kevin Marshall,
like
Labanowitz. That was that game. That was that year.
Yeah, it was.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then wasn't that when that was Mark's freshman year, wasn't it?
Yeah. No.
Or no? Was that a different one?
Wasn't that the year
before?
Wasn't that the year that Mark was hurt?
I feel like the Southern Illinois game is when Mark kind of took over, and I swear I'm gonna have to look it up now.
I swear by the sun and the moon and the stars.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be there.
Is that the country version or the all for one version?
It's really, that's up to you. That's a dealer's choice thing.
I was while you were going off, I was laughing at the garage time comment because I forgot garage time's just become such a, I don't know, like I just picture Chad's face. We're
getting a shirt made.
Yeah, it's gonna be made, but I forgot that it started from a typo about garbage time.
While I was driving down the interstate.
That's true. It's become such a thing.
That's what it's from.
Thank you, Ryan Drake, for bringing that to the forefront.
Yeah, we still love you, Ryan. Even, you're the man. But no, you forget that garage time started from the most quintessential Chad thing ever. But it's become such a big thing. People, I don't even think about that's why it started anymore. That's so funny. That's freaking.
I mean, you saw my tweet the other day. If I didn't have a typo, did I even send a tweet?
That's just true. It's the same as a tree falling in the forest.
So it was the spring.
Seth Meyers says that it was the spring season.
Exactly. It was the spring season. Okay. It was Mark's freshman year.
Jordan Fink backed it up. So
he put the team on his back, and we beat Southern Illinois in the second half.
Points, Ben.
Yep.
What else do we want to talk about? Oh, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if everybody realizes this, but there was a rule change made in college football where first downs are no longer a clock stoppage
until 2 minutes are left.
2 minutes left in the first half, and at the end of the game, the clock will stop for a first down. The rest of the game, the clock runs, which for us, I mean, we're not like a high flying no huddle offense, so it doesn't really change a whole lot for us, but it does change things. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of ways that could help a high flying offense a little bit too if they wanted, but I don't know. It's going to be
it gives them, what it does is it gives them less time than they would have had previously, because before you could score in like 5 seconds. Like you threw a pass, you got a first down, clock stop. You do it again, clock stop. Like it now, like the clock will run reasonably, like it should. I mean,
make it a little harder to come from behind.
Right.
You know what it's going to give?
I think a little less scoring, like less high scoring games too. Which, I mean, whatever. But I think the totals will be lower from a betting standpoint.
For sure.
Bless you.
I didn't reach the mute button in time. I apologize. It's for sure going to give you one healthy argument per game in the stands with somebody who's mad that the clock didn't stop.
Oh yeah. How many guys are going to be yelling at the first game?
Oh
Stop the clock! Stop
the clock. The clock didn't stop. The clock didn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait for that. That's gonna.
I'm not gonna say I'll be one of them.
Chad and I will have that conversation at some point, at least once.
Paul Seiler's asking for fan favorite slushy flavors.
Pina colada.
My wife likes the blue raspberry ices. Or the slushy brand.
You gotta have strawberry and pina colada. Those are the two like normal ones. I did not see the roughing the punter rule change. Don't know about that one.
Kevin Marshall's calling us out because we haven't scheduled a home and home with Citadel. Yeah.
You show me where that call has been made and we said no, and I'll believe it.
Correct.
Up until then,
we'd play you versus Western Oregon.
It's not like SDSU hasn't played triple option teams in the past, Cal Poly, as an out of conference game, so it's not a ducking the thing. So, we get to name a play. See this?
What's that?
Cleanse is making his son's flag football playbook. He needs a name for his throwback pass play, and this pod gets to name it.
It's got to be garage time, huh?
Well, just name it. Name it after us. The
BBC.
The BBC play. Yes,
there it is.
Yell that out.
I thought you were going to say the B team. I'm like, that's
no. Make him yell it out.
Yeah. You don't get to walk up
and like see which moms turn heads on the sideline like. Anyway,
just name it after a random. Just name it after a random kid's mom.
No, if you can't name it BBC, I would say Garage Time. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could name it after just some random kid's moms, and then be like, it's Clay's mom. That's the name of the play. And then when they're like, why is it Clay's mom? Be like, well, I was gonna name it the BB.
I mean, you could name it after that dog that's half wiener, half pit bull, kind of like your mom.
The wiener pit.
Man, we are getting
all right. This is getting bad.
The Podfather is going to be angry.
Watching. Yep. They killed the undersent. Yeah, he's mad. Can you tell what one team? Yeah, he has said it twice though.
John's got the update on the roughing. If the punter is more than 5 yards from his original spot, he can be hit. It's not. So like the
5 yards
rugby,
forward, right?
No, it's got to be side to side. Right. That's got to be against the rugby punters.
This is you can just knock out the rugby punters.
Well, it's probably because if you have a rugby punter, some of them were ridiculous.
Yeah, they would like run.
If they were going to
run a long way,
and
right?
Run 10, 15 yards and punt it.
Yeah,
so that's what that's all about.
So you were tempted to tackle him and then he'd punt it. That's true.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That makes sense. That does for sure. And then.
All right. Do we have anything else to
no, and we're at an hour. I don't
Yeah.
think we have anything to touch on. So
I think we covered it all. And we will be back on Monday.
Monday.
On Monday at I don't know what time.
John Cena.
Maybe 8:30.
We'll figure it out. 8:30.
Yeah, we'll tweet it out.
With the Twitter.
It's all on Ben's hand. Follow us on Twitter. Like, follow, and subscribe us on Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. Thank you so much for listening. If you're still hanging in.
X gonna give it to you.
Yeah, sorry, not Twitter. X gonna give it to you. Leave us a review on all the different apps and everything like that. If you can share this, it always helps us. Beyond that, I think that's about it, right, boys?
I think that's all we got.
I think that's it.
Yep. Go big, go blue, go Jacks.